the seeds of hope in the vast golden rice fields of Cambodia. A humble farmer named Vanda lived with his wife Raxmi and their only son Chasta. Life had never been easy for them. They worked tirelessly from dawn to dusk, their hands rough and calloused from planting and harvesting rice, the only source of their meager income. Yet, no matter how hard they worked, their earnings were barely enough to put food on the table, let alone send their son to school. Despite their struggles, Vanda and Raxmi shared a firm belief: education was the key to breaking the cycle of poverty. While many villagers sent their children to work in the fields, Vanda made a bold decision. His son would not follow in his footsteps as a farmer. Chester would study, no matter what it cost him. Each morning, as the sun painted the sky in hues of orange and pink, Dara walked miles to school, barefoot but determined. His mother would carefully wrap a handful of rice and dried fish in banana leaves, placing it in his small satchel so he wouldn't go hungry during the day. They could afford only one notebook, and Chester had to erase and reuse pages to keep up with his lessons. Whenever school fees or supplies became an issue, Vanda would take on extra work, helping neighbors plow fields, mending fishing nets, or carrying sacks of grain to the market. Raxmi sold woven baskets she made at night, often working until her fingers ached just to save enough for Chester's books. But hardship wasn't their only enemy. Many ridiculed Vanda for sending his son to school instead of training him to work the land. A farmer's son is meant to be a farmer, they would scoff. Education is a luxury, yet Vanda refused to be swayed by their words. Every night, he sat with Chester under the dim glow of an old kerosene lamp, guiding him through lessons he barely understood himself. They learned together, his father's quiet determination fueling Chester's dreams. Years passed, and despite every hardship, Chester excelled in school. He often studied late into the night, pushing himself beyond exhaustion. The sight of his parents' sacrifices drove him forward. He had a dream to become an engineer, to build roads and bridges that would transform his village and others like it, giving people better access to schools and markets. When Chester finally graduated with top honors, he received a scholarship to study civil engineering in Phnom Penh. It was a bittersweet moment for his parents. Letting him go meant losing their helping hands in the fields, but they knew they had planted the right seeds in his heart. Years later, Chester returned, not as a farmer, but as an accomplished engineer. He stood before his parents, taller, stronger, dressed in a crisp white shirt instead of worn-out farm clothes. Tears welled in his mother's eyes as she touched his hands. They were no longer calloused from farming, but they carried the weight of dreams fulfilled. Using his knowledge, Chester helped build roads that connected distant villages to schools and hospitals, ensuring that no child had to walk miles on dusty paths to chase their dreams. He transformed the same land that once seemed to trap his family in hardship into a beacon of hope for others. His parents, now aging, sat under the shade of their small wooden home, watching as children passed by on their way to school. Their sacrifices had borne fruit. They had endured hunger, ridicule, sleepless nights, all so that their son could escape a fate of poverty. And in the gentle rustling of the rice fields, where golden stalks danced in the wind, Vanda whispered to his wife, "We have done it, Raxmi. The land we struggled upon has given us more than rice. It has given us hope." Moral of the story: education is the bridge between hardship and opportunity. It empowers individuals to rise above limitations, transforming dreams into reality. No matter one's background, knowledge is the light that guides us toward progress and a better future. You know, education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world.